Hey everyone, today we have a special patch notes because a lot of regional finals are going to be played on this patch. So in terms of competitive play, this is a very, very important patch. And for everyone trying to climb out there, there's around like 1 month left in the set. So everyone trying to get those last minute rankings needs to be able to understand this patch, needs to know all the ins and outs. And to do that, we have to know what's going to be changing because the rules of the game are the rules of the game. We don't get to make them up. We are only allowed to play around them. So we have to know what they are and know how to play around them. So we're going to go over all the changes and what I think about all of them. And we'll also be creating a tier list on Friday, as we do every single week at bunnymuffins.lol/meta. But let's get into the summary. So we have the buffs first. Senna, Lux, Caitlyn, Twist of Fate, Jhin, Sona, Runon's, Static Shiv, and Switching Gears. So right off the bat, Caitlyn, Twist of Fate, a little bit forgotten about in the last patch. I said this when Twist of Fate got nerfed. I didn't think Caitlyn would be that weak, but she turned out to be pretty much that weak, so I'm 1 for 2, I guess. And then Sona, she's been missed a little bit. She belongs a lot in the Twist of Fate comps as well, so maybe that's kind of related. But I'm actually very surprised about the Runon's buff. Runon's has always been like a pretty decent item. It's never been a best in slot unless there's like a super specific champion in a specific set. But in this set, those don't really exist, so the buff's probably a little warranted, right? But I always was fine building Runons already as like a backup item, but I never like went out of my way to like, oh, let me please get a Runons, you know? Static Shiv was a little weak too, so Twist of Fate and Sona probably related to that too. And then yeah, Switching Gears. I never use Switching Gears ever, just because the data set is awful. Speaking of data, let's head on over to Teamfight.lol, go to Augments, and then let's look up Switching Gears. Okay, 4.9, pretty damn awful. Let's check it out on one of the other patches. Let's say like 13.24b, 4.94, like, yeah, it's never been that great. So it probably could have used a little love a little earlier, you know, but better late than never. On to the nerfs. Heartsteel, yeah, Heartsteel, very, very oppressive, you know. It is what it is. Econ traits are really good whenever people are playing really greedy. It kind of depends on your server. Some servers play really, really greedy. Some servers don't. So how good Heartsteel is kind of depends on that a little bit. Punk was a little bit strong. Same for Executioner. A lot of the Twin... Oh, they nerfed Twin Terror again also. I mean, it was super, super strong. We could, like, look at the data again. Go back to the current patch. Was it 14.2 now? And then, what was it called? Twin Terror? Yeah, 4.03. Those are amazing numbers, in case you all didn't know. And then Karthus, also nerfed. Set nerfed. Set is OP because he belongs so well in those Heartsteel comps as a main frontliner. He's both a Mosher and a Brawler. So he's able to just complement a ton of units. You have Poppy and Zac at 4 costs to complement both extraordinary units. Poppy, just an animal on her own. Zac, CC bot. And then at legendaries, you have Alawi, best tank in the game. And then, who is the other one? Yorick. Yorick at 2-star. One of the best damage dealer, bruiser-ish type of champions ever because he tanks and he dishes it out and he could use all sorts of items. After that, we have Olaf nerfs. Actually surprised about this. I did not think Olaf was that good. He was definitely viable and he was definitely like slightly above average, but I don't think he was like OP to warrant like a major nerf. They have like two differences in the patch notes every time, so they have big changes and small changes. I would have expected maybe like a small change for Olaf, if any, but having him in the large change might be a bit too much in my opinion. Mordekaiser also nerfed. Very solid unit, used in a ton of different comps. He's used in all the Yone reroll, Riven reroll comps, all the Pentakill comps, all the Sentinel comps. He's used like pretty widely throughout the set so far. Oh, Chibi, Porcelain, Lux, in case you all want to kind of roll for that. And then we are onto the system changes. So loot distribution. This is one of the big ones. I've read like some of the snippets about the loot distribution, like from people's Twitter accounts and like from some Discord channels, but apparently, all players now get the same number of items at each stage. This is like a temporary measure. I believe they're rehauling the way loot works in the next set, so definitely could look forward to that. Headliner rules fix a bug that allowed a headliner trait to appear multiple times before waiting for 4 shops as intended. Okay, that's good. But yeah, this means you no longer have like econ starts at the start of the game. Or like you can't get them anymore potentially. Like you still could get a lot of gold, but if you do, everyone gets it, so it's not like that different compared to everyone else. What else do we have? Like the 5 item starts, everyone gets 5 items now. And I think the time this affects people the most is on stage 3 and stage 4, because being down an item on stage 3 when you need to like catch up in HP, very, very difficult to do. Same with stage 4. Stage 4 is so critical. So I actually would have liked seeing some variance in like the stage 1 drops and then equalizing it out either on like the Krugs or the Wolf Camp. I think that would have been really cool, especially like maybe after the Wolf Camp. Like at stage 4, everything equal after that, that would be perfect to me. But I'm sure they've like looked into this pretty deeply, right? But now onto the large changes. Large, like the stakes I keep raising. Raise the stakes is hilarious, by the way. Lots of like different takes on that there, but Heartsteel stage 5 and 6 hearts per kill is being nerfed from 2 to 1. Okay, so you can no longer play Heartsteel in the late game and still get like a ton of stuff. So that's probably fair. You know, they want you to keep losing with it. Heartsteel heart multiplier is being changed at 10 Heartsteel. Okay, that doesn't. Who gets a 10 Heartsteel? You need 3 Heartsteel spats and Heartsteel headliner. Very difficult to do. I've only seen this done in a double up game. When I played with my friend and he got 10 Heartsteel because we're playing against bronze players, you know, because we just started playing double up. But apart from that, I've never seen it in like an actual ranked game, but it takes too much, you know, so this doesn't really change that much. But punk attack damage, 18, 30, 45 is being changed from 18, 30, 42. So 6 punk nerfs. Okay, when they listed out the punk nerfs before, I thought they were going to nerf the other stuff. If they're only nerfing 6 punk, I think that's pretty fair, because 6 punk is really, really, really strong. I love it so much. Spatula in a punk comp works out so well because you could build either punk spat or emo spat, both of which are very critical to the team. But they're only nerfing 6 punks. Actually, hats off to Riot there. They're not trying to like kill a comp that just started getting more playability, I would say. Executioner critical strike chance is being changed a little bit. It's up to 25, 100, 200, all the way to 25, 80, 160. So 4 and 6 Executioner getting nerfed. That's very fair too. Good that they did not touch 2 Executioner, because I feel like having it as a splash trait perfectly fine, but 6 Executioner was very, very powerful. Maybe 4 they could have left the same. I don't think 4 is like that devastating. Maybe just like small nerf to 6, which this is decently small, I think, because Executioner does a bunch of other stuff too. This is just one part of the trait. But onto the tier 1 units, Olaf healing ability being changed from 35% AP at 3-star all the way to 30%. It's not, like, is that big? It could be, right? Because he auto attacks, pretty much every time he autos, he heals a flat amount, or like based on his AP. So if you have like 100 AP, you heal for like 30 health instead of 35 health. But he autos so many times, so it actually amounts to like a tremendous amount of health. But maybe the healing, since it's only one part of the kit, isn't going to change his placements that much, maybe. Well, we'll have to see. Like, I don't think it was that good. Again, let's check the data. Data is not everything, but it's nice to at least know about it when you kind of look at stuff, you know? Let's look at Olaf. His average 3-star placement is 4.2, which is above average, which is what I've been saying. But if we compare that to all the other 1 costs, all right, so let's look at this. 3-star rate, Jinx is by far the most, like, Jinx is 4.11, you know? Olaf is, what is he, 4.2? Olaf is 4.2 over here, but like, Annie's better, Jinx is better. The other ones, they don't count, right? Because no one goes for like Lilia 3-star. Who cares about that? Kenneth, no one goes for that. But the ones I see is like Annie, Jinx, maybe Evelyn, Yasuo. That's who we should be comparing it to. Maybe Corki. He's like in the middle of the pack, right? I don't know. Maybe they have to touch Annie as well to like make it sort of more fair, in my opinion at least. But whenever I see people go for Olaf, and whenever I go for it, like, yeah, it does decently, but it's never like oppressive, you know? I don't know. But onto units tier 2, Senna ability damage is going to be buffed up a little bit at all 3 levels. That's cool. You know, when Senna reroll was OP, I didn't think it was that strong, and then they didn't really touch her that much, and turns out it wasn't all that great, but now they are buffing it a little bit. Maybe it's pretty good now. Overall, it depends on how good true damage is, right? If true damage sucks, Senna's going to suck, and recently true damage has not been good. Once reroll Senna was a thing, true damage was good. That's kind of the difference there. Sometimes it's a trait, not so much the champion. But onto units tier 3, Lux ability damage is going to be bumped. Oh no, I do not want Lux reroll to be good because she just snipes your backline. You have to position a lot around it. But I faced it a couple times recently. Very annoying. She casts twice, so she does her normal cast and then she does her EDM cast, and then your backline carry is just dead. So I don't know why they're buffing it. It's pretty annoying. Granted, it's not that good, so it could use a little more power, but what I would have liked to see instead is, because this AP change, it's going to make it so she pretty much will always 2-tap your backline after the 2 casts. Maybe they could have lowered her mana or something like that. Maybe lowered her health or resistances so you could maybe kill her first with like a Karthus ultimate or something like that. Damage buff, I don't know. Seems a little rough because she's pretty much always going to kill everything at 3-star. Mordekaiser ability damage is going to be nerfed a little bit. Okay, no more Mordekaiser reroll. I wish I could play that comp a bit more, but Mordekaiser's so contested. Ability finale damage is going to be bumped down a little bit too. Set 950 to 900. Set's main ability target damage is being dropped across the board, and then cone damage also dropped across the board. Yeah, Set is pretty OP. He's great at stabilizing Heartsteel, which health is very important in Heartsteel because you could get more rounds out of it. And then he's also just solid in the late game. So there's just like never a bad time to play Set. He's just like a very strong unit with 3 traits. Yeah, too good, right? Units tier 4. Caitlyn max mana buff 90 to 75. Okay, very nice. Karthus ability damage. This one's going to be dropped a little bit across the board. Ability power per cast going to be buffed up a little bit. So you want Karthus to cast more, but overall this still is a nerf. At 2-star Karthus, he needs to cast twice in order to get the same amount of AP he had before. And the third cast, like, it pretty much kills everything anyways on the third cast, so buffing it past that doesn't actually do anything. So this is definitely a big nerf to his first 2 casts. Twisted Fate mana buff is going to be, wow, pretty sizable nerf. 120 to 105, or sorry, pretty sizable buff. 120 to 105 mana. You want lower mana because that means you can cast the ability faster, right? Yeah, probably pretty good for TF. He attacks so quickly, like, his max mana doesn't matter as much compared to other champions. But obviously it's a pretty big buff because he gets to cast his cards faster, and then like if you have Rage Blade, like lots of good things happen. Yeah, Twisted Fate was over nerfed because they nerfed Disco so much. I talked about this in the last patch. I don't know why they went through with all those Disco changes. I feel like looking at it from the outside, it was like not the most obvious thing, but it was like, come on, Disco's gonna be pretty weak, right? But is this gonna bring it back? Well, we'll have to see all the other changes first, but they might need a little bit more. I don't know. I see Disco boards now. On stage 4, they roll down, they hit everything. They had Blitz 2, Twisted Fate 2, and then it just doesn't do that much in stage 4. They lose to like regular boards, they lose to 3 cost still. Like, I don't know. But units tier 5, Jhin, armor and MR 30 to 40. Okay. Jin's health 850 to 950. Pretty sizable buffs there. He is by far the weakest 5 cost. It's actually hilarious. Look at this. All right, let's go to average placement. He is a 4.16. So literally, the Annie reroll averages better than Jhin, which is incredible, right? But yeah, 4.16 for a legendary is really, really, really bad. You always want to be in like the high 3s. That's generally where they fall. If we look at like the entire patch histories, for example, let's go to like 3.24b. Yeah, pretty much the lowest was 4.12. Average again is like high 3s. Right now, like last patch, like 4.16. I don't know. They're both pretty bad, right? Kayn was kind of like always bad this whole set though, because Kayn's kind of special though. I know it's only 4.16 versus 4.12, but like Kayn has never been good the entirety of the set, so you can't really compare it to him, right? It's kind of like bullying at that point. But Sona kinetic form green ability healing is being buffed up a bit, and then the shield duration buffed up as well. I know when to go for attack speed Sona. I know when to go for damage Sona. I don't know when you want healing Sona. That's the thing. So if you're using Sona as a support or a secondary carry or like a random splash, obviously attack speed's going to be the best one to use. If you have tons of items on Sona and you have like 7 Spellweaver, go for damage, you know? But the green one, the healing one, it's a little tough because like it's a supportish role. I feel like the attack speed is almost going to be better in most cases in a theoretical sense, right? So the numbers need to be adjusted so that the healing is so good or the shielding is so good that you want that over the attack speed, right? But I don't know which comps want the healing. I have to think about that a little bit more. But I do like this change because I do like having to choose between the Sona forms. I don't like always having to like default to one of them. And that's kind of silly. So hopefully this brings green or like the shielding one back in play, because I've never used it this set. I've only used attack speed or the damage one. But on to the next one, we have Augment's Twin Tear, nerf, deserved for all of them. And then switching gears, gold per swap, 2 to 3. Ooh, that's pretty big. Is that OP? I actually don't think it's going to be OP. I think it's going to be like slightly above average, maybe. Is it even going to be good? Because they changed the way how streaks work. So maybe now is switching gears time to shine anyways, right? That one's tough. This one's too hard to tell. Let's think. So normally streak gold, what do you average in like the duration of a game? Maybe like 1.5 gold or something like that. So you get like, oh, that'd be an interesting math problem. Okay, I can't do maths, but someone figure that out. So someone look at some of their past games, calculate all the streak gold you've ever gotten, and then see how many times you could get like switching gears value and compare that to the two. Because that's going to be how you like figure that out. Items, is that a shock treatment? Gold augment buff, I see. Yeah, it is. Static Shiv, magic damage, 30 to 35, very fair. Runons, 50 to 55 for 50 to 50 to 55% AD, very fair too. Yeah, these items didn't need that much. Maybe just like a tiny bit is good, so I agree with this. I don't know the exact numbers, but sounds about right. Artifacts and radiant items, Goldmancer stat, base AP being buffed. Yeah, after killing the Goldmancer was like so OP before. So for Goldmancer, let's go to items, and then let's go down to artifacts. So artifacts is all the way down here, and then let's look at average placement. The worst one by far, 4 points. Wow, I didn't realize it was that bad. I never picked it, but I never data checked this either. Holy cow, it's that bad? Okay, yeah, it might need more than 30 to 45% AP. I don't know. That is a decent amount of AP, though. Deathfire's Grass, 5% AP. What was Deathfire's Grass bad? It was right behind it at 4.45. The thing about DFG is that no champion uses it well. Like, look at the common champions people build it on right now. Arthas, who cares about a single target damage? That's what Deathfire's Grass does. It fires a cone, or like it blasts a current target for 20% of their max health, and then you deal more damage to it. That does not help Karthus. Ziggs is a legendary, so you just throw whatever items you get on him. And then Ahri, she likes playing for like the long game. She pretty much 2 taps every champion anyways, or like 3 taps at most. So you don't really need the DFG on her either. So there just aren't many champions that use this item. So that's probably why it's not that good. Runon's Tempest, ult damage, 100 AD to 110. Static Shiv, similar buffs there. And then onto the small changes. Small like the patch notes were back when 3.5 was live. Don't believe me, just search. Yeah, patch notes used to be a lot smaller. Thankfully, they are longer. That means I get to talk a bit longer. And then hopefully people enjoy that, right? If you do enjoy it, go ahead and subscribe below. That would help me out a ton. And it's like free to do, I love when things are free to do. Emo ability power is being buffed from 10% to 20% at 6 emo. Wait, I thought 6 emo was broken. Is it not broken? Broken means good, by the way. So let's go to traits 16, because I've been playing 6 emo a ton. Maybe I just have to type in emo. Is good. Is it broken? Because obviously it's going to have high placements, because that means you got a lot of like good spatulas for your specific comp. Maybe 3.79 isn't that high for a 6 trait. 6 big shot. I've never gone 6 big shot, but that's a 3.37. Okay, looking at the other ones, Punk 3.56. I mean, did it really need the buff? It was on like, I guess the lower end, but not like that much lower, Okay, whatever. I like playing 6 emo, so I'm happy about that. Not gonna complain when someone buffs a comp I like. Units, Garen ability health gain is going to be, was it 2 and 3 star buff? And 3-star Garen just hasn't been a thing. I kind of want it to be. Jack's ability slam is being buffed at 3-star and 2-star and 1-star actually. Is that enough to make Jax a thing? I don't think so. Jax is pretty garbage right now. Let me check the data on him again. Just helpful to kind of, like 4.9, like come on, that's not going to bring him back. He needs a little more. So the previous nerfs to Jax were to the EDM trait, and they like reduced the amount of times EDM procs by, I think it was 2 seconds for Jax, and that means you lose like 25% of your EDM procs, because it went from like 6 seconds to 8 seconds or something like that. Don't quote me on these numbers, but it's somewhere around there. And because of that, you just lose so much power on your team, and like compensating it with like small AP buffs, I don't know if it's gonna do enough. I don't think so. Headliners now, Vi Headliner is gonna be nerfed actually. I didn't know that Vi was that good. Wow, I'm surprised. I didn't buy her before and now they nerfed her, so I guess I still won't buy her. Kale attack speed being reduced a bit. Zed is going to be nerfed a little bit. Yeah, Zed Headliner very, very strong. And then Sona buffed. Wow, really? They're buffing Sona twice. Okay, but I guess no one gets Headliner Sona. It's so rare to get legendary headliners nowadays. Augments, Balance Budget out. Balance Budget Plus can now be offered at 4.2 and gives 9 gold per round. Okay, that's a good change. I'm surprised they didn't have this before, to be honest, because it just makes sense. Whenever you have gold augments, obviously gold is worth more in the early game than it is in the late game. That's why things like Hedge Fund has Hedge Fund Plus and Hedge Fund Plus Plus, which gives you more and more gold as the game goes on. Bigger shot bomb damage is being buffed up. Endless Hordes and Endless Hordes Plus, health reduction 20% to 15%. They buffed this augment, I think, twice now. I remember seeing this in one of the recent patch notes, so is it going to be good now? I always really like this augment, but it kind of like kills your mind, right? You just have to like activate it, and sometimes I'm a little sleepy when I play. Heartthrobs, extra hearts 20% to 25%. Starter kit now grants 4 gold. And now 3.5 revival changes. Honestly, I don't really care about those, so we're going to go into the bug fixes. Fix a bug where you could find an Akali whilst having an Akali headliner. Oh, really? I guess the KDA versus true damage kind of causes that. Lucian no longer sometimes fires one extra shot. An ability now properly stops scaling at 5.0 attack speed. Previously, it could benefit slightly beyond 5.0, and his ability can no longer benefit from attack speed past 5.0 with Nashor's Tooth. Fix a bug where Reforgers and Pandora's items can never grant Spear of Shojin. You're kidding me, right? Okay, I don't think I've ever done that, but I have always been looking for specific items. Not even specific, maybe like 5 out of the entire item pool. And I swear to God, sometimes in the entirety of the game, when I have Pandora's on stage 2-1, and it's like stage 4 now, I still haven't gotten my item. It's really annoying, but it is what it is, you know? Fix the bug where Pandora's items could grant the Hyperroll version of Gambler's Blade outside of Hyperroll and vice versa. Yasuo's ability tooltip now specifies he deals physical damage. I thought that was pretty obvious, but it's always good to clarify that. Mumu's ability tooltip now shows his armor to damage scaling at each star level. And then Ornn did not have a copyright. Artifact anvils now read open an armory of artifact items when dragged over the shop instead of open an armory of Ornn items. Okay. Kale's ability tooltip now correctly shows her shred as 20 instead of 30%. And then lastly, we have binary airdrop correctly grants attack casters and attack carries items from the recommended items. So overall, like medium-sized patch, despite them saying that, well, where was it? Like patch notes used to be much shorter. These patch notes were longer than these old patch notes, but compared to recent patches, it's a lot smaller. So the reason why is because I think the regional finals are going to be going on like across most of the major regions right now. So they don't want to like completely flip the game because of that. And then after that, we have Worlds patch. So those are two very important things. So overall, like, is Twisted Fate back? I don't know if he actually is. Man, Jax for sure is not back. That I could say like pretty confident. I don't think that's going to bring him back. Lux is going to be annoying. I think Lux might be a thing. Senna, I don't know. It depends on true damage, right? Sona, probably pretty solid anyways. Like, if you get good Sona items, you're playing Sona anyways. You don't care if it's buffed or nerfed. And then Jhin definitely should be back. Actually, like, he was pretty bad before. Nah, he should be back. He should be back. Depends what comps are good right now. If Actually, Jhin might not be back. You know why? Because Heartsteel got nerfed, and you often play Jhin with Ezreal, and you're not going to be playing as much Heartsteel anymore since it got nerfed, and then therefore you're playing less Ezreal, and then therefore you're playing less Jhin. So maybe Jhin isn't going to be changed. You know, maybe he's still going to be like worse legendary. Switching gears should be fun. Like 1 gold difference is pretty big. It could potentially be like 10 gold across the game. Like that's pretty sizable, right? With a lot of it coming in the early game potentially. Maybe like 3 extra gold in the early game. 3 extra gold in the early game's a lot, you know? Static Shiv, Runons don't really care about that. I thought they were perfectly fine to begin with. For the nerfs, like, yeah, Set, Heartsteel, Twin Terror, all that stuff, Executioner, Punk being hit like a little bit. Nothing too hard though, so they still should be playable in my opinion. But looking at some of the other changes, is Caitlyn back? Caitlyn got like a mana buff, right? Caitlyn was pretty garbage. Every time I played Caitlyn, I regretted it last patch. This is pretty sizable though, right? Because she might get like 3 casts off during a fight instead of just 2. Yeah, and then the first one comes faster. I think it should be. Yeah, it definitely should be good. Maybe 80 flex is going to be good. You're like trading between Ezreal and Caitlyn again. Maybe that's going to be a decent part of the meta. The Olaf nerfs did not really agree with. Don't really think he needed that. Probably still going to be okay. Not going to be as good as it is now, obviously. And yeah, that's pretty much the main parts of the patch. So like lots of small changes. Nothing super big. They didn't flip anything, you know. But yeah, we'll be coming out with the meta snapshot on Fridays, or like the tier list on Friday. So definitely look out for that, both on the YouTube channel and on the website. And let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about what comps you think will be busting out in this next 2 weeks. Who are you rooting for in the regional finals? And yeah, I will see you all in the next video.